Tuesday night, 8:47 p.m. My apartment door finally opens after what feels like the longest day in recorded history. Client calls, design revisions, endless meetings about user interface changes that nobody actually needs. All I want is a hot shower and maybe some leftover Chinese takeout from the fridge. My keys slip from my exhausted fingers. The phone rings. Rosalind. Mom's voice sounds different tonight. Flat. Like she's reading from a script she's rehearsed. Your father and I have decided. Sloan is moving back to Asheville. We need you out of the house by the weekend. That 4-bedroom house is hers now. The keys hit the hardwood floor with a metallic clatter that seems to echo forever. I grip the doorframe, certain I've misheard something fundamental about this conversation. I'm sorry. What? You heard me correctly. Blythe's tone sharpens with that familiar edge of impatience whenever I dare to question her decisions. Sloan needs stability, a place to start her family. You work remotely. You can live anywhere. My mouth opens but no words come out. The house I saved. The house I've been restoring for 6 years, room by room, weekend by weekend, paycheck by paycheck. The house where I've been living to help them with expenses and maintenance because they claimed they couldn't manage alone. The house I saved. My voice comes out smaller than I intended. The house I spent the last 6 years fixing? An irritated sigh fills the silence. Sloan is engaged, Rosalind. She needs stability, a place to start her family. You're single. You work remotely. You can live anywhere. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. The words hit like ice water. I hear Dad's weak murmur in the background, some half-hearted agreement that sounds more like surrender than support. Arthur Moore, the man who taught me to change a tire and balance a checkbook, reduced to background noise in his own life decisions. 72 hours. Mom continues, businesslike now. We'll arrange for supervised removal of your belongings. Nothing belongs to you except your personal items and work equipment. End quote. The line goes dead. I stand there staring at my phone screen, reading Mom's name like it might transform into someone else's if I concentrate hard enough. Someone who wouldn't just erase 6 years of my life with a casual Tuesday night phone call. Memory crashes over me like a wave. Age 22. Walking into their kitchen with my diploma, summa cum laude in hand, the pride burning bright in my chest, finally ready to show them I'd made something of myself. Good. Expend. Good. Blythe had said, barely glancing up from her crossword puzzle. Now you can get a job and help with the bills. 1 week later. Sloan, 18 and invincible, wrapped their Honda around a telephone pole after some party in West Asheville. I'd expected consequences, maybe a lecture about responsibility or defensive driving classes. Instead, Dad's worried sighs. She's just so impulsive. We need to get her a safer car. No anger, no accountability, just immediate plans to purchase a newer vehicle with better safety features, funded by my parents' increasingly desperate finances, while I started my first real job and handed over half my paycheck for family expenses. That was the pattern. Rosalind the workhorse. Sloan the precious, fragile child who needed constant protection from the consequences of her choices. 6 years ago, they came to me weeping about tax debt and emergency repair costs. The roof leaked, the kitchen faucet barely worked, and the heating system belonged in a museum. They couldn't afford the repairs. They might lose the house. We hate to ask, Dad had said, his voice breaking with what seemed like genuine shame. But could you move back home temporarily? Just until we get back on our feet? Temporarily turned into permanently. My savings account drained systematically. $110,000 invested in kitchen renovation, roof replacement, plumbing overhaul. I transformed that rotting structure into something beautiful, something solid, something worthy of the neighborhood it sat in. Meanwhile, Sloan posted photos from Austin. Party pictures, restaurant reviews, weekend trips to San Antonio. When we'd ask for help with expenses, she'd laugh it off with practiced ease. Oh, Rosie, you're so good at that stuff. I don't know anything about bills. Good at that stuff. Like financial responsibility was some quirky hobby rather than basic adult functioning. My phone buzzes. Sloan's name appears on the screen before I can process what's happening. Hey, Rosie! Her voice practically bubbles through the speaker. Big news! I'm coming home. Can you make sure my old room is cleared out by Friday? I need space for my fiancé, and, oh, just leave the big TV in the living room. Okay? I love that one. The 70-inch television I bought last Christmas after saving for 3 months. The one I researched for weeks, reading reviews and comparing prices because every dollar mattered when you're funding a family's entire lifestyle. Blood drains from my face. The room tilts slightly. We'll talk when you get here, Sloane. My voice sounds strange, too controlled, like it's coming from someone else's body. Perfect. See you Friday. She hangs up before I can respond. I slide down the doorframe until I'm sitting on my hardwood floor, keys scattered beside my feet like fallen stars. 6 years of sacrifice. 6 years of putting my life on hold, turning down promotions that required relocation, avoiding serious relationships because family needed me. And now I'm being discarded like last week's newspaper because Sloane decided she wants to play house. My fingers find Genevieve's contact information without conscious thought. Jen Hayes, my best friend since college and the sharpest real estate attorney in Western North Carolina. If anyone can make sense of this legal nightmare, it's her. Rosalind? What's wrong? Jen's voice cuts through my panic immediately. She always knows when something's catastrophically wrong. My parents just gave me 72 hours to move out of the family house. They're giving it to Sloane. Silence. Then, the house you've been restoring? All of it. 6 years, general $110,000 of my own money, and they're just handing it over like I never existed. Wait, Jen's voice sharpens with professional intensity. Your grandmother, Estelle. How exactly did your parents inherit that house? Was it a will or a trust? I realize I don't actually know. Family financial arrangements were always presented as adult business, too complicated for children to understand. Even as an adult contributing to household expenses, the ownership structure remained mysteriously vague. I don't know, I admit. Do not talk to them. Do not text Sloane. Send me every piece of paper you have, insurance documents, utility bills, anything with that address. I'm going to the county records office first thing tomorrow morning. For the first time since this conversation started, something like hope flickers in my chest. Jen? Yeah? What if they're right? What if I'm just being selfish? A pause. Then her voice, steel strong. Rosalind. Selfish people don't sacrifice 6 years of their lives to save other people's houses. Send me those documents. We're going to figure this out. Wednesday morning, sunlight filters through my apartment blinds like it's trying to apologize for yesterday's devastation. I've been awake since 4, staring at the ceiling and replaying Mom's voice. That clinical tone when she erased 6 years of my life with a casual phone call. My coffee tastes like cardboard, but I drink it anyway while organizing every document I can find with that house address. Insurance papers scattered across my kitchen table. Utility bills dating back 3 years. Maintenance receipts. The folder grows thicker as I dig deeper into my filing cabinet, evidence of a life I apparently never owned. Jen calls at exactly 9:15. Rosalind, there's a problem. Her voice carries that tight frustration I recognize from court days gone wrong. Your parents, acting as trustees, filed to seal portions of the trust documents right after Estelle died, citing family privacy. They are actively hiding something. I need a judge's order to unseal it. It's going to take me 24 hours. The words hit like cold water. Sealed? Why would they seal anything? Because whatever's in those documents doesn't support their version of events. People don't hide good news, Rosalind. They're covering something up. 2 days and every minute feels stolen. I pace my apartment in circles, wearing a groove in the hardwood between my kitchen and living room. My laptop sits open on the coffee table, showing a half-finished user interface design that seems meaningless now. How do you focus on button placement and color schemes when your entire life is unraveling? Memory surfaces without permission. Grandmother Estelle, 3 years ago, sitting in her favorite chair during what turned out to be her last Christmas. I'd brought her tea, and she'd grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. That woman sees dollar signs, not family, she'd whispered, glancing toward the kitchen where Mom was complaining about the cost of holiday groceries. I'd brushed it off then. Estelle was 87, and her comments about Blythe had grown sharper over the years. I thought it was just old age, making her cranky about her daughter-in-law. But now her words carry weight I never recognized. Estelle had watched Blythe for decades. She'd seen patterns I was too close to notice. More memories flood back. Estelle taught me to balance a checkbook when I was 12 because a woman needs to understand money, sweetheart. Estelle insisted I learn basic home maintenance. showing me how to fix a leaky faucet and change a car's oil. Independence isn't just about having your own place, she'd said. It's about not needing anyone to take care of you. Had she known this day would come? Had she been preparing me for a war I didn't even know was brewing? Thursday morning arrives like a sentencing hearing. I've barely slept, my mind spinning through every possible outcome. Maybe the documents will show my parents were telling the truth. Maybe I really am just the ungrateful daughter who needs to step aside for Sloane's happiness. But something cold and calculating has taken root in my chest. If they were innocent, why seal the documents? Why hide behind privacy claims when the truth should speak for itself? My phone rings at 10:30. Jen's name on the screen. I got it. Her voice shakes with fury I've never heard before. Rosalind, they have been lying to you for 6 years. The room tilts. I grip the kitchen counter, preparing for whatever bomb she's about to drop. Estelle didn't trust Blythe. She placed the house in a living trust. Arthur and Blythe were named trustees with the right to live there, but the trust explicitly stated that on your 30th birthday, 2 years ago, full unencumbered ownership transferred automatically to you alone. The words don't compute immediately. What? You own that house, Rosalind. You've owned it for 2 years. They've been lying to your face while living on your property. My legs give out. I slide down the cabinet door until I'm sitting on my kitchen floor, phone pressed to my ear while my world reshapes itself completely. But the debt. The $110,000 they needed help with. Jen's voice turns deadly quiet. That $110,000 debt? It was a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. They took it out after your 30th birthday. This is bank fraud, Rosalind. They borrowed money against your asset, an asset they didn't control, and they made you pay it back. The magnitude hits like a physical blow. My parents didn't just lie about ownership. They committed a federal crime while making me fund their fraud. Every monthly payment I'd made toward that debt was money stolen from my pocket to pay for their theft. I'm not the ungrateful daughter, I whisper. You are the victim of systematic theft, Jen says firmly. And we're going to make this right. You are the legal owner. Do not move a single pillow. It's your house. Defend it. Something fundamental shifts inside my chest. The guilt that's been crushing me for 24 hours evaporates, replaced by crystalline clarity. I'm not selfish for wanting to keep what's mine. I'm the target of a carefully orchestrated con that's been running for years. What do we do? I'm canceling my afternoon appointments. We're going to war. Within an hour, Jen has mobilized like a general preparing for battle. A 24-hour locksmith service contacted for emergency key changes. Legal documents drafted, eviction notice and restraining order templates ready to file, bank fraud report prepared with HELOC documentation attached. Security consultations scheduled to prevent physical confrontation. The locks get changed this afternoon while they're out, Jen explains, spreading papers across her conference table. Then we will deliver the eviction notice tomorrow when Sloane arrives. Clean, legal, and impossible to argue with. That afternoon, I drove to the house with hands shaking from adrenaline rather than fear. The locksmith van follows behind me, tools and new hardware ready to secure what's legally mine. The house looks the same from the outside. White siding I was pressure washed last spring. On the front porch I repainted in careful coats. Gardens I've maintained for 6 years, weeding and planting and nurturing growth that my parents claimed as their own. But walking through the rooms feels different now. This isn't their house that I've been helping to maintain. This is my house that they've been occupying while lying to my face. The kitchen, where I installed new cabinets and granite countertops. My kitchen. The living room with hardwood floors. I refinished myself, working evenings and weekends until my hands were raw. My living room. The 70-inch television Sloane wants to claim. Bought with my money, installed in my house. Everything belongs to me. Everything. I gather only what matters. My laptop, legal documents, Jen will need, photos of grandmother Estelle. The expensive furniture, the television, the appliances I've purchased over the years, everything stays exactly where it is, secured inside my property. 3 hours later, every lock in the house has been changed. New deadbolts, new window locks, new security codes for the garage door. The locksmith hands me a complete set of keys that feel heavier than they should. Property's secure, ma'am. No one's getting in without these. I stand in my kitchen, holding keys to my house, feeling the weight of 6 years of lies finally lifting off my shoulders. Tomorrow, when Sloane arrives expecting to claim her prize, she'll find locked doors and legal papers explaining exactly who owns what. My phone buzzes with a text from Jen. Documents filed. Tomorrow we take back what was always yours. For the first time in years, I smile without guilt hiding underneath it. Friday morning arrives with Sloane's Instagram story blazing across my phone screen. Airport selfie, bright smile, designer luggage, arranged artfully in the background. Ready for my new life. Asheville, new beginnings, home again. The hashtags feel like tiny daggers. I screenshot everything before she can delete it later. Evidence. Jen taught me that yesterday during our strategy session. Document everything, she said. Every lie, every manipulation, every moment of their entitlement. Build the case methodically. My phone exploded at 11:23 a.m. Rosalind. Sloane's voice pierces through the speaker so loud I have to hold it away from my ear. What the hell? I can't get in. The key doesn't work. Did you change the locks? I take a breath. Count to 3. Yesterday, this call would have sent me spiraling into panic and apologies. Today feels different. Clearer. The locks were changed for security reasons, I say calmly. Security reasons? It's my house now. You can't lock me out of my own home. Her own home. The house she's never contributed a single dollar toward maintaining. The house she abandoned 6 years ago without a backward glance. We'll discuss this when I arrive, I tell her. The line goes dead. Immediately, my voicemail notification chimes. Blythe's voice, shaking with fury. How dare you lock us out of our own home? This is elder abuse, Rosalind. We'll have you arrested for this. You've lost your mind. Another message. Arthur's guilt-soaked whisper. Your mother is having chest pains from the stress you're causing. Is this really what you want? Your grandmother would be ashamed. Grandmother's guilt, their favorite weapon. But something's shifted inside me since Jen read me those trust documents. Grandmother Estelle isn't ashamed. She protected me. She saw this coming from miles away. I call Jen, putting her on speaker while I organize the evidence folder one final time. Police reports, trust documents, bank statements, screenshots. Everything chronological, everything labeled, everything ready. You sound different, Jen observes. Stronger. I feel different, like I'm finally awake after 6 years of sleepwalking. The police are meeting us at the house in 30 minutes. Civil standby, just like we discussed. They'll keep everyone calm while we serve the eviction notice. For the first time in my adult life, I'm not the one trying to keep everyone calm. I'm the one setting boundaries that require enforcement. The drive to the house feels surreal. My hands remain steady on the steering wheel. No tears, no wavering, no last-minute guilt spirals about family loyalty. Just calm determination and a folder full of legal documents that tell the truth my parents have been hiding for 2 years. I turn the corner onto Maple Street and see them immediately. All 3 clustered on the front lawn like refugees from their own poor choices. Arthur pounding on the door, Blythe pacing frantically, Sloane standing with her arms crossed, luggage scattered around her feet like evidence of her premature victory celebration. Mrs. Linda watches from her front porch across the street, phone in hand. Good. Let her record everything. I park at the curb and step out just as Jen's BMW pulls up behind me. 2 patrol cars arrive simultaneously, their presence transforming the neighborhood drama into something official and serious. Ma'am. Officer Rodriguez approaches me first. You're the homeowner? Yes, Rosalind Moore. These individuals are attempting to enter my property without permission. Blythe whips around, her face flushed with indignation. She's lying. We live here. She's having some kind of breakdown and changed our locks. Ma'am, step back, please. Officer Rodriguez moves between us smoothly. Professional. Calm. We'll sort this out. Jen emerges from her car carrying a leather briefcase, like a weapon of mass legal destruction. She's dressed in her courthouse armor, charcoal gray suit, low heels for stability, hair pulled back severely. When Genevieve Hayes means business, you can see it from 3 blocks away. Mr. and Mrs. Moore. Jen's voice carries across the lawn with courtroom authority. This is a formal eviction notice. You have 24 hours to arrange for supervised removal of your personal belongings. You are no longer permitted on this property. Arthur sputters, his face cycling through confusion, disbelief, and dawning panic. You can't do this. We're her parents. This is Rosalind's house, per the Estelle Moore Living Trust, a trust you violated when you fraudulently obtained a $110,000 home equity line of credit against property you did not own. The number hits like a physical blow. Sloane's face drains of all color, her Instagram perfect composure crumbling in real time. A HELOC? She turns on Arthur and Blythe, her voice climbing toward hysteria. A trust? You told me the house was yours. You said Grandma left it to you. Sloane, calm down, Blythe snaps, but her authority is evaporating by the second. This is a misunderstanding. No, Sloane's voice cracks. This isn't a misunderstanding. You lied to me, about everything. Mrs. Linda's phone remains pointed in our direction, capturing every moment of this public reckoning. Blythe notices and storms toward her. Stop recording. This is a private family matter. Ma'am, Officer Thompson intercepts her smoothly. You need to remain on the public sidewalk. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Blythe, unhinged and screaming. Arthur, deflated and mumbling excuses. Sloane, discovering her entire future was built on lies. Meanwhile, I stand quietly beside my attorney and 2 police officers, every document legal, every action justified, every word measured. Mrs. Linda's recording will show exactly who lost control today, and it won't be me. Jen hands Arthur a manila envelope. Police report for attempted trespassing. Bank fraud report filed with both local and federal authorities. Your attorney can contact my office to arrange belongings removal. This is insane, Blythe hisses, but her voice lacks its usual commanding edge. She's manipulating you all. Rosalind's always been unstable. Officer Rodriguez checks his notes. Ma'am, according to the legal documents, this property belongs to Rosalind Moore as of 2 years ago. The individuals attempting entry have no legal standing. The words settle over the scene like concrete. No legal standing. After 6 years of emotional manipulation and financial exploitation, the truth finally has an official voice. Sloane stares at her luggage scattered across the lawn, her engagement ring catching the afternoon sunlight. My fiancé is flying in tonight. What am I supposed to tell him? Tell him the truth, I say quietly. For once. The group disperses slowly, Arthur loading Sloane's suitcases into their car with mechanical movements, like a man sleepwalking through his own nightmare. Blythe shooting venomous looks in my direction, but keeping her distance from the officers. Sloane sat in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead with the shell-shocked expression of someone whose entire worldview just imploded. Mrs. Linda waves from her porch as they drive away. Honey, I got every second of that. Later that evening, sitting in my apartment with takeout containers and legal paperwork spread across my coffee table, I finally let myself feel the weight of what happened. Not grief for the lost relationship with my parents. That died the moment Blythe delivered her 72-hour ultimatum. I grieve for the 6 years stolen through systematic manipulation. For the woman I was before I learned to doubt my own worth. For all the opportunities I declined because my family needed me. I open my journal and write. I was never the problem. I was the solution to their problem. Jen calls at 9:30, her voice warm with satisfaction. Federal banking regulators confirmed they're investigating the HELOC fraud. Criminal charges are possible. What happens next? That's up to you. We can pursue maximum legal consequences, or we can negotiate a settlement that gets you out quickly and cleanly. The choice is entirely yours. For the first time in 6 years, the power sits in my hands. No manipulation, no guilt, no family obligation, just legal documents and righteous anger and the freedom to choose my own future. My doorbell rings at 10 p.m. Mrs. Linda stands in the hallway holding a plate of homemade cookies, her eyes bright with excitement. Honey, I thought you should know. I've been posting that video everywhere. Facebook, neighborhood groups, Nextdoor. Your mother's been calling my house for 3 hours, begging me to take it down. She says it's going to ruin them. She hands me the cookies with a conspiratorial smile. Sometimes the truth needs a little help spreading around. I watch through my window as Mrs. Linda's porch light illuminates her phone screen, still sharing the video. Public accountability begins organically. Social media justice serves the consequences my parents spent years avoiding. Tomorrow, I'll decide whether to pursue criminal charges or accept their surrender. But tonight, I'll eat Mrs. Linda's cookies and watch my family's lies crumble under the weight of their own contradictions. The foundation for future victory is already set. All I have to do is choose how complete I want their defeat to be. Sunday morning brings the first wave of what I quickly realize is a coordinated assault on my reputation. The phone starts ringing at 7:30, just as I'm settling into my first cup of coffee with the weekend crossword puzzle. Uncle Robert's voice carries that particular blend of disappointment and authority that only comes from being the eldest Moore brother. "Rosalind, your mother called me last night. She's absolutely devastated. Says you've turned cruel, locked them out of their own home. What's gotten into you?" I set down my coffee cup with deliberate care. "Uncle Robert, did Mom mention the $110,000 they borrowed against the house after it legally became mine? Or the 6 years I spent restoring it with my own savings?" Silence stretches between us. I can practically hear his certainty crumbling through the phone line. "She said there was some misunderstanding about paperwork." Bank fraud isn't a misunderstanding. The line goes quiet for several long seconds. When Uncle Robert speaks again, his voice has lost all its edge. "I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know." 3 more calls follow the same pattern. Aunt Patricia from Charlotte, Cousin Michael from Raleigh. Each conversation starts with accusations and ends with apologies once I mention the trust documents and the HELOC fraud. By noon, I'm documenting every interaction in a spreadsheet, noting names, times, and exactly what lies my parents told each relative. Jen calls while I'm updating my notes. "How many family members have contacted you this morning?" 5 so far. They're working through Mom's entire phone book. "Good. Keep documenting everything. Every lie they tell creates more evidence of their pattern of deception." Jen pauses, and I hear papers rustling. I've been busy too. Arthur tried to file something at the courthouse yesterday, claiming he never relinquished trustee authority. The clerk's office called me this morning, laughing. Laughing? Apparently, he brought a handwritten letter stating his intention to resume control of the trust. The clerk explained that trusts don't work like library books. You can't just return them when you're done. I actually smiled for the first time this weekend. What did he say? According to my source, he asked if there was a form he could fill out instead. Monday brings a different kind of assault. Blythe appears at my apartment complex around lunchtime, sitting in her sedan in the visitor parking area. She doesn't approach my door or call my phone. She just sits there, occasionally dabbing at her eyes with tissues, clearly hoping neighbors will notice her distress. Mrs. Patterson from 3B knocks on my door around 2 o'clock. "Honey, there's a woman in the parking lot who says she's your mother. She looks so upset. Are you two having some kind of fight? She's trying to manipulate you into feeling sorry for her." I explained calmly. "She committed bank fraud and is facing the consequences. I'd appreciate it if you didn't engage with her." Mrs. Patterson's eyes widened. "Bank fraud? Oh my." "The police are aware of the situation. If she continues loitering, they'll ask her to leave." Sure enough, Blythe's car disappears within an hour. Tuesday afternoon, Jen forwards me a screenshot from Arthur's church directory Facebook page. Someone posted a prayer request on his behalf. Arthur Moore and his family are going through a difficult time with a family member who has turned against them. Please keep them in your prayers as they navigate this painful situation. The responses reveal exactly how their strategy is backfiring. Instead of sympathy, several church members mention Mrs. Linda's video, which has apparently made its way through multiple community Facebook groups. Saw that video of them demanding entry to that young woman's house. Didn't look very Christian to me. If that's how they treat their own daughter after she helped them for years, what does that say about their character? Praying for the daughter, she showed remarkable composure under attack. By Wednesday, I'm getting calls from people I barely know expressing support. A former coworker whose sister lives in Asheville mentions seeing the video. My dental hygienist's cousin lives 3 streets over from the house and witnessed the entire confrontation. The story is spreading like wildfire through interconnected social networks, and the version people are hearing consistently portrays me as the victim, not the villain. Thursday brings the most desperate move yet. My phone rings with an unknown number displaying the Asheville Police Department prefix. "Miss Moore, this is Officer Jenkins. We received a report of possible elder abuse involving your parents. The caller claims you're financially exploiting them and preventing them from accessing their home." My stomach drops for exactly 3 seconds before Jen's training kicks in. "Officer Jenkins, are you familiar with the HELOC fraud case involving Arthur and Blythe Moore that was filed last week?" A pause. Let me check my notes. Papers rustle. Ah, yes. We have that file. And you're the victim in that case. That's correct. My parents are apparently trying to file false reports now. I see. Well, we'll be closing this elder abuse report immediately. And I should mention that filing false police reports is a misdemeanor offense. I understand. Will my parents be informed of that? They will indeed. Friday evening. Sloane calls for the first time since the initial gloating conversation. Her voice sounds strained, lacking its usual buoyant confidence. Rosie, we need to talk. I'm listening. Brad broke up with me. The words come out flat, defeated. He said he can't marry into a family with this kind of drama and financial instability. He saw the video online. I didn't respond immediately. Part of me wants to feel vindicated, but mostly I just feel tired. Mom and Dad promised this was all going to work out. Sloane continues, her voice cracking slightly. They said you'd never fight back, that you'd just accept it like you always do. They miscalculated. I lost my job too, my boss said. Having my personal drama going viral reflected poorly on the company image. This catches my attention. What job? Marketing coordinator for that boutique hotel chain. They fired me Monday after the weekend explosion. Sloane's breathing sounds shaky. I don't have anywhere to go, Rosie. I gave up my Austin apartment. I spent my savings on the engagement ring upgrade and wedding planning deposits. For 28 years, this would have been my cue to fix everything, to sacrifice whatever necessary to rescue Sloane from consequences she'd created for herself. The old Rosalind would already be calculating how to help. The new Rosalind recognizes manipulation even when it's wrapped in genuine desperation. Sloane, I'm sorry you're facing difficulties. But those are consequences of choices you and our parents made. I didn't create this situation. So you're just going to abandon me? I'm protecting myself from people who tried to steal my house. That includes you. Sloane hangs up without another word. Saturday morning brings unexpected vindication. Mrs. Linda calls to read me a voicemail, Blythe left on her home phone at 11 p.m. Friday night. Please, Linda, you have to take down that video. It's destroying our family. People are treating us like criminals. Arthur had to resign from the church board. I can't show my face at the country club. Please, I'm begging you. What did you tell her? I ask. Mrs. Linda's voice carries unmistakable satisfaction. I told her that criminals generally are treated like criminals, and that seemed appropriate. She called again after that? 3 more times. Each message is more desperate than the last. The final one was just crying. As I hang up the phone, I realize something has fundamentally shifted. For the first time in my adult life, I'm not the one scrambling to fix a crisis or manage other people's emotions. I'm not the one making desperate phone calls or crafting elaborate justifications. I'm the one sitting calmly in my apartment, drinking coffee, watching my former family's carefully constructed facade crumble under the weight of their own lies. Every manipulative move they make only proves my case more thoroughly. They've turned their greatest weapon against themselves. Social pressure, community reputation, family guilt, all the tools they used to control me for years are now destroying them instead. Justice, I'm learning, sometimes arrives quietly, through the simple act of telling the truth and refusing to be moved by lies. 3 weeks pass like a chess match where I finally know all the pieces on the board. While my parents scramble to rebuild their narrative, I organize my evidence with the methodical precision that made me good at UX design. Every document is sorted chronologically. Every photograph is dated and labeled. Every text message screenshot is preserved with metadata intact. My phone rings Thursday morning while I'm reviewing bank statements for the 3rd time. Dad's name appears on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering, savoring this new sense of control. Rosalind. His voice sounds older, more fragile than I remember. I think we've all made mistakes here. Can't we work something out? Families should forgive each other. I hear Mom's urgent whisper in the background. Tell her about the medical bills. Dad, what medical bills? A pause. Then the practiced vulnerability creeps into his tone. Your mother's been having chest pain since this whole mess started. The stress is killing her, Rosalind. We just want to come home. The old me would have crumbled instantly. Guilt would have flooded through me like ice water, drowning every logical thought until I agreed to whatever they needed to make their pain stop. But 3 weeks of clarity have rewired something fundamental in my brain. The house isn't your home anymore, Dad. It's mine. Has been for 2 years. Silence. Then Mom's voice, close enough to the phone that I know she's grabbed it from him. We hired a lawyer, Rosalind. A good one. He says we have grounds to contest the trust. Undue influence. You manipulated your grandmother against us. My heart doesn't skip a beat. Jen prepared me for this exact threat. What's your lawyer's name? David Richardson. Richardson and Associates. He specializes in estate disputes. I write it down, though I don't need to. Jen already researched every estate attorney in the region. He's reviewed the case? He's very confident, Mom says, her voice gaining strength. Estelle was 91 when she changed that trust. Vulnerable. You lived with her for 6 months before she died, filling her head with lies about us. The accusation hangs in the air like smoke. I lived with Grandma Estelle for 6 months, yes, because she'd fallen and needed help with daily tasks while she recovered. I'd taken unpaid leave from my first design job, sleeping on her couch and driving her to physical therapy appointments 3 times a week. I see. And you're demanding what, exactly? Sale of the house with proceeds split equally among the 3 children. It's only fair. 3 children. As if Grandma Estelle had 3 grandchildren instead of 2. But Mom always counted herself as Estelle's child, despite 30 years of barely concealed mutual dislike. I'll have my attorney contact Mr. Richardson directly. Rosalind, please. Dad's voice again, probably wrestling the phone back. We don't want to hurt you. We just want what's rightfully ours. I disconnect without another word. Within an hour, Jen calls back, and she's laughing. Actually laughing. David Richardson withdrew from the case, she says. Professional courtesy call to my office. Apparently, after reviewing the evidence package I sent over, he advised your parents that pursuing litigation would expose them to serious criminal liability. What evidence package? The one I prepared last week. Comprehensive documentation of every claim they might make, with counter-evidence. Your grandmother's mental competency is thoroughly documented through medical records right up until her death. The trust creation dated 4 years before you ever lived with her. Your parents' HELOC fraud creates potential federal charges. 6 years of financial records proving you were the sole investor in property improvements. I sink into my desk chair, overwhelmed by the thoroughness of Gen's preparation. She anticipated their moves before they made them. Richardson told them their best outcome from litigation would be criminal prosecution and massive legal fees. Worst case, federal prison time for Arthur and bankruptcy for the whole family. So it's over? Not quite. I think it's time for you to make them an offer they can't refuse. 2 days later, we met in Gen's conference room. The space feels deliberately formal, all dark wood and legal diplomas, designed to intimidate. Mom and Dad arrived 10 minutes late, looking smaller than I remember. Sloan isn't with them, according to Mrs. Linda's neighborhood intelligence network. She returned to Austin after her engagement fell apart. Her fiancé learned about the family's financial chaos through social media and decided he wanted no part of our drama. Arthur's hands shake as he sits down. Blythe's makeup can't quite conceal the dark circles under her eyes. 3 weeks of public humiliation have aged them visibly. Thank you for coming, Jen says, sliding a document across the table. Settlement agreement. Very straightforward terms. Dad fumbles with his reading glasses while Mom scans the pages with a growing alarm. This is outrageous, Mom says. You want us to pay you $110,000? Reimbursement for the HELOC fraud, I say calmly. The money you borrowed against my house and made me repay. And this no-contact clause, Dad adds, his voice breaking slightly. Permanent estrangement from our daughter? Consequence of your choices, Jen explains. The alternative is criminal prosecution for bank fraud and continued civil litigation. We estimate your legal costs alone would exceed $200,000, assuming you avoid prison time. I watch my parents process their complete powerlessness. For the first time in my life, they can't manipulate, guilt, or bulldoze their way to what they want. The legal system doesn't care about their tears or Arthur's weak protestations of good intentions. We need time to consider, Mom says. No, I reply. You sign today, or Jen files criminal charges Monday morning. The FBI takes bank fraud very seriously. Arthur signs first, his signature barely legible through the tremor in his hands. Mom holds out longer, probably calculating some last-minute angle, some emotional leverage she hasn't tried yet. But Gen's evidence folder sits open on the table between us, thick with bank statements and legal documents that transform their lies into provable crimes. She signs. One more thing, I say as they prepare to leave. The house sells next month, 60-day listing period. When the sale closes, you'll receive a check for your portion after the $110,000 reimbursement is deducted. Our portion? Mom asks. $0, I clarify. But I wanted you to see the final number, what you lost by trying to steal from me. They leave without another word. Through Gen's conference room window, I watch them walk slowly to their car, moving like people who've aged 10 years in 3 weeks. How do you feel? Gen asks. Free, I say. And for the first time in weeks, I actually smile. 2 days later, Mrs. Linda knocks on my apartment door with her tablet in hand. Honey, you need to see this. She shows me her Facebook post. The video of my parents' meltdown in front of the house has been shared 847 times. The comments stretch on for pages, mostly from other people sharing their own stories of family financial manipulation. Your mother called again this morning, Mrs. Linda continued, begging me to delete it, says it's ruining their reputation at church. What did you tell her? That the truth has a way of spreading all by itself, and that reputation is something you earn, not something you deserve. That afternoon, I drove past my old church. The parking lot sits nearly empty despite Sunday service being in session. Arthur's name has been quietly removed from the board of directors' sign. Their social circles have evaporated like morning mist. The house listing goes live Monday morning. Gen's real estate contact predicts it will sell quickly given the neighborhood and recent improvements. 4 bedrooms, completely renovated kitchen, new roof and plumbing. All the work I invested over 6 years finally paid dividends. But money isn't what matters anymore. The house represents something much more valuable, proof that I'm not the ungrateful daughter they painted me as. I'm the woman who saved a family home, who invested her youth and resources into something bigger than herself, who deserved better than betrayal disguised as love. 3 weeks from now, when the sale closes, I'll write them a final check for exactly $0.00. Not out of spite, but out of simple mathematics. They stole $110,000 through HELOC fraud. The house will probably sell for around $285,000 after real estate costs. Simple subtraction leaves them with nothing, which feels like perfect justice for people who gave me nothing but years of exploitation wrapped in family obligation. I drive home to my apartment, windows down, mountain air filling my car with the scent of freedom. 6 months later, I signed the final paperwork at Gen's office. The house sold for $320,000. After real estate fees and closing costs, $285,000 sits in my checking account, money that belongs entirely to me. The apartment lease I signed last week feels like signing my own Declaration of Independence. 2 bedrooms, hardwood floors, and a view of the Blue Ridge Mountains from the kitchen window. No family photos guilt-tripping me from the mantelpiece. No constant reminders of 6 years spent as someone else's solution to their problems. Just peace. How does it feel? Gen asks, watching me fold the settlement documents into my purse. Quiet, I say, and realize it's the perfect word. My mind is finally quiet. Friday evening arrives with the first dinner party I've hosted since this whole nightmare began. Gen brings wine and her infectious laugh. Mrs. Linda shuffles through my front door carrying a plate of chocolate chip cookies, the same recipe she's been making for 40 years. Your grandmother Estelle would be so proud, Mrs. Linda settles into my kitchen chair with a satisfied sigh. She always said you were the only one in that family with a spine. We eat takeout from my favorite Thai restaurant, the one I discovered during those first lonely weeks of apartment hunting. Nobody mentions Blythe's manipulation tactics or Arthur's pathetic enabling. Nobody asks whether I feel guilty about choosing myself over family harmony. This kitchen table holds only laughter tonight. Mrs. Linda pulls out her phone, scrolling through the comments on her viral video. Still getting messages from people sharing their own family stories. You started something bigger than you know. I didn't start anything, I say. I just stopped accepting the unacceptable. Later, after Gen and Mrs. Linda leave, I pour myself a glass of wine and open my journal. The leather cover feels smooth under my fingers, unmarked by tears or desperate late-night scribbling sessions. I write, I spent 30 years confusing love with sacrifice. Real love respects boundaries. The real family celebrates success, not exploits it. The words flow easily now. No more second-guessing every thought, no more wondering whether my feelings are valid or selfish or ungrateful. My phone buzzes. Text from a colleague at work. Coffee tomorrow? I need advice about something with my family. I've become the person others turn to when they need permission to protect themselves. Jen refers to clients dealing with similar family fraud cases, calling me their inspiration story. When people share their struggles with manipulative relatives, I listen without judgment and share what I learned. Boundaries aren't walls that keep love out, they're gates that let the right kind of love in. My therapy sessions with Dr. Martinez have evolved from crisis management to growth work. We talk about building friendships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. About recognizing red flags early instead of explaining them away. About the difference between helping someone and enabling their dysfunction. You've stopped apologizing for taking up space, she observed last week. That's significant progress. Saturday morning routine has become sacred. Coffee first, then journal writing on the balcony overlooking the mountains. The sun rises over peaks that have stood unchanged for millions of years while human drama plays out below in all its temporary intensity. My phone chimes with a text from Mrs. Linda. Holiday potluck next weekend. Would love to have you join us. 6 months ago, declining would have triggered hours of guilt and self-doubt. Now I respond easily. Thank you, but I'm creating new traditions this year. Have a wonderful time. No guilt, no lengthy explanations, just honest communication delivered with grace. The morning light shifts across my coffee cup, catching the steam in golden wisps. I pull out my journal for one final entry. I thought family meant sacrifice. Grandmother taught me family means protection, protecting each other's dreams, dignity, and autonomy. Some people are related by blood. Others are related by choice. I choose my family now. Below, the city of Asheville stretches toward distant mountains, full of people navigating their own complicated relationships with love and loyalty, and the courage to choose themselves when necessary. My phone stays silent. No emergency calls about family crises that somehow require my immediate financial intervention. No guilt-laden voicemails about how my selfishness is destroying everyone's happiness. Just silence, and sunlight, and the profound satisfaction of a life finally lived on my own terms. The mountains remain unchanged, eternal witnesses to human struggles that resolve themselves when we finally learn the difference between love and manipulation. I am free.